Now, what happens with now I want to talk a little bit about defenses against emotions. Why are we not so aware of these physical sensations? We are not aware because we get into what is known as defenses, which are coping responses, right? Most psychologists would know about ego defenses. We deny feeling an emotion, we intellectualize an emotion, we push it away onto someone else, things like that. We rationalize it, we blame, rationalize it by blaming. Now, why are those defenses used? What really happens? What really is happening is that you are feeling an emotion, right? And it's difficult to feel it because it's too much to feel. And therefore, something else needs to be done to cope with that instead of feeling the feeling. And for each of us, our defenses are very different. And some of us won't know also that these are our defenses. Whether we get into fixing it, whether we get into thinking about it, okay, or we get into substance use, right? So, for example, when we were working last time with loneliness, right, the defense is to move into distraction, to move into calling someone. The defense, let's say you feel angry, the defense is to shut down, right, to become overly involved in work. Because we've learned these defenses because as a child, we were probably in an environment of people who were in their caught up in their own situations just like we are, and we were helpless, genuinely helpless. But so at that time we developed certain ways of coping that worked for us. For one child it works to throw a tantrum because there's opportunity in the system to throw a tantrum, and parents might listen if you throw a tantrum. For another child there may be a lot of punishment if the child throws a tantrum, so there may be no allowance for anger, for example. So that child would have to learn to shut his anger down or her anger down, right? Now, as a child that coping made sense. Or another child would displace the anger, would keep quiet in front of the parents but go to the playground and you know beat other kids up or bully other kids or whatever. So everybody has their own defenses that they developed at a particular time in life, which was a time of genuine helplessness because there was too much dependency. But that pattern, because it's learnt in the neural wiring and because it has never been reviewed, even though the helplessness changes, uh, physically you are more in charge, there is more financial independence or physical independence at this point, it never gets reviewed, and therefore that pattern never really undergoes a change unless the environment has really pushed in some way to act differently. So what happens is that pattern continues without awareness, and because it's so neurologically wired, it seems the most likely uh, place to go to. It's the most likely path to move to, and that's it. Just happens, yeah. So the defense, the particular defense that the individual is going through, is unique to the individual. But the fact that emotions are being defended against is not unique to anybody, because genuinely emotions are unpleasant to feel. Unpleasant emotions especially are unpleasant to feel, and for some people pleasant emotions are also difficult to feel, because when pleasant emotions come up, a fear of this won't last and it will move into something unhappy will come up, so let me not enjoy this while this is there. So the ability to take in pleasant and enjoyable situations and emotions also is diminished, right? Now what we are trying to do is, if we try too much to recognize our defenses, we can get into an intellectual battle with ourselves. What my defense is it this, is it that? Usually other people show us our defenses, not so much that we see our defenses, but other people would see it even more clearly in our system. So instead of trying to understand the defense mechanism, just this knowledge helps that our relationship with our emotions is not one of embrace. Our relationship with our emotions is one of pushing or not wanting to see or fixing whatever our relation. Some of us are very aware of our emotions, so it's not that everybody is unaware. But with that awareness, what do we do? Right? So there are two basic ways in which we work with emotions. We either try to resist feeling or we vent because it's too much. Right? So the question is there a third way, a different way of working with those emotions? Because venting is also not helping, it's just taking it out for the moment. But it's not helping the context that's creating it, the entire pattern that's creating it, it's not helping, right? And all of us have a pet emotion. Most of us have one like there are people who will feel anxious a lot, there are people who will feel angry a lot, there are people who would feel sad a lot, right? So we have our pet emotions because they are part of our patterns, right? In the same situation, one person will shut down. In the same situation, one person will yell and scream, right? So we want to just recognize that this is there and see if we can find a way of working with this. That's all. That's our work. So it's, we hear so much about self-love and how it is extremely important. In my understanding, this is a journey towards deep self-love because nothing is rejected in this space at all. There's no rejection towards yourself. No matter what your patterns are, no matter what your defenses are, no matter what your emotions are, no matter how you feel, there is an openness to feeling the feelings. Now, yeah, but it's not necessarily an easy path because it's not easy to feel your feelings. Just accepting that it's there. Yeah. So it's easy when we think of it in theory. Okay. But let's say in practice, you think of yourself as a very generous person who's kind and who's giving. And then there is some food on the table which is not enough for everybody. And then you want to take that one piece. And you have not even all this while recognized this. But now that you're mindful, you recognize that I want to eat this and I really like it. And even if others don't get it, I want to eat it. That awareness can create in you feelings that are not helpful towards yourself. Unskillful feelings towards yourself. So at least whether you take it or not is a second question. At least can you have compassion for the feeling? So then you're embracing a wider part of who you are. In my practice, I see people going through so much pain because they cannot accept feeling a particular way, right? Like for example, let's say someone feels attracted. They are in a marriage and they feel attracted to somebody at work. Just feeling that attraction is causing so much turmoil. It's not acting upon that attraction. It's feeling that attraction, beating yourself about it. It takes up so much space in your mind, whereas it can genuinely be acknowledged and accepted that, well, I can't help it. I mean, attraction is something that comes up. Now, whether I act upon it or no, in fact, you will be able to act upon it far more in a far more skillful manner if you at least are open to accepting that that's happening. Otherwise, it's like that's happening. There is story about blame towards yourself or blame towards your relationship because of which you feel attracted to the other person, and it can become a complete mess, right? But if you're mindful, then you're fully aware that this is happening. So there is at least the internal conflictedness of this shouldn't happen. At least that's going away. Now, conflict of what I am doing and not doing, yes. But over a period of time, and just like Ravina said, that when you sit with something, it loses intensity in terms of action. This sitting with something can only happen when you first accept that the boredom is there, when you just accept that this is there. So you're starting with creating deep acceptance, and we are searching for love from everybody because we don't feel accepted, isn't it? I mean, the reason we are looking out for somebody else to come in and say, you're good, you're doing fine, you're you're very settled in the way you think, you're whatever it is that we are looking for, the approval that we are seeking is not founded inside, therefore deeply needed from outside. But what does real approval look like? Real approval is not a justification, right? Real approval is not that whatever I am is fine from an intellectual perspective. It is whatever I am, it is so. So it's not a it's not a rationalization. It is an openness to what it is really. And compassion to that, because you didn't create that. There are so many things that happen as a child which have shaped our lives, our situation, our culture, our community. I mean, the number of influences are just immense. The times in which we are born. So there's so much making us who we are that how can we even fully say that this is me and this is right and this is wrong about me? There's no scope for that. So you see, the practice is actually of being completely embracing, completely relaxed, and completely gentle about who you are, which doesn't mean that it's okay to act in any way. The problem with acceptance is people immediately start to feel when you say acceptance that, oh, then I don't have to take responsibility for anything. No, no, for what you are, no. For what you will now do, yes. Yes. But for what you are, no. Because you almost cannot take responsibility fully for what you are because you did not create yourself any which ways, right? These patterns have happened. They have connected with each other and expressed themselves. So the idea now, for this is to why we needed the body is because when we want to fully notice an emotion, we will have to notice it in the body because that's where it is expressing. We will come back from these stories, we will come back and we will notice it in the body. And therefore, our awareness of our body and the last week's meditation is extremely important to notice that emotion, right? And now the opportunity now for you is open that you notice when you're getting bored. You notice when you feel restless. You notice when you're feeling, unsettled. And when you notice that, you notice what is happening now or what am I feeling now that is making me want to move away. So you have one layer lower to notice instead of the reactivity. Any questions about this before we get into a practice? Any questions about defenses, about how to work with them?
So this is why in the body can be watch all the parts. Like that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Sensation.
Yeah. So that we become more connected. Two things it will do is one, it will help the brain connect to all parts of the body. So they are not, you don't stay very disembodied from a physical sensation point of view. Now, with the emotion angle coming in, you're able to better notice where it is manifesting. So you don't go away from it to deal with it. So, also in terms of body, if you went through your body this week and you realized tightness in the chest, tightness in the stomach, um, uneasiness, palpitation, all of these are also defenses. against feeling the feelings. They are just habitual defenses that have got built up over years because that part of the body is shutting down not to let you feel the emotion. It's getting tighter or it's getting held, because if you have to move away from emotion into thinking, you have to move away from something. What is that thing that you have to move away from? Right? It is a part of the body that you have to move away from, which is feeling the feeling so intensely, which is difficult to tolerate or which is difficult to manage. So when you will put your even your hand, let's say if you're feeling heaviness in the chest and you will put your hand, then you're compassionate, but you're also able to better notice what's happening, how you feel right now. Any questions about this? This can be a little complicated to understand. So,
So exactly how to apply it.
yeah,
I'm traveling to airport and I'm anxious
yes,
because of traffic and
correct,
reaching there also. is a
Correct.
nightmare.
correct.
How do I manage?
Yeah. So, firstly, we'll come to that after the break. Actually, how to work with an emotion. But just to give you a little heads up. Firstly, we know that at this point there's nothing we can do. We are already on the way, and the queue will be the queue, and whatever will be whatever. We know it, right? But the mind is all the time thinking again and again. There will be a queue, I will get late, there will be a queue, this is, oh my god, there's traffic, da da da, right? So at that time, coming into the body and noticing where you feel anxious, where exactly is the anxiety. So instead of relating to the thoughts about the anxiety, what is the feeling of the anxiety? What is the feeling of the anxiety? It's, you're guessing, you don't know.
You have to see, is it in the hand, is it in the stomach?
You'll have to
You
notice.
mean to say all the emotions have to be essentially having some physical.
They always have. They always have. Emotions are generated in the physical body. They always have a manifestation, whether we can feel it or not at this moment, because we are in touch with our body or not. And that is why we did body scan meditation last time, so that we get more in touch, so that we can feel it better. But it's always in the body. It's in the face, it's in the head, it's in the body, it's in the hands.
Just have to scan one.
Yes. So notice where in the body you feel the emotion. But exactly the step by step what's to be done, we will do that. We will do that today. What is seen, like happiness seen on the face, sadness seen on the face, felt in terms of anger, felt in the hands, in terms of clenching. So there is a expression that is evident, and then there are sensations which are not necessarily evident, like choking in the throat. It's not something you can see, but it's, it's a sensation. Butterflies in the stomach is a sensation. And these are still gross sensations. Then there are subtle sensations, which are even more fine. But when we start noticing what is the gross, like butterflies, heaviness, then we will start noticing, even as we do more and more body scan work, we can notice even what is happening under, not just on the skin level, but in the muscular level, in the bone level. What's going on? And all the time something is going on, because the body is continuously having some movement going on, right? There are cells, and there is flow of energy and blood and everything. So when we do body scan, our job is to just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and trying to notice better and better, but not with a drive of, I can't figure this out, I can figure this out. More with, I will see what comes up for me to see. I will notice what I can notice. So more with that. So as we do that, step by step, slowly we are able to become more aware of the body. But when we go with this idea of, I want to know what's going on deep inside, and then you cannot feel it, and then again the whole conflict arises. So if your work is conflicted, something is wrong. If your meditation is conflicted, there's an issue. like at least the initially it could be conflicted, but the focus is to not get into conflict.
Maybe this question comes on that. So, what is the key to having the emotions come out without totally overwhelming the system? Like,
If
how do
yeah,
you do that?
yeah. So
When you know to pull back because
that's a question of judgment. It's a question of judgment, and it's not even that we will be able to pull back when we can, because sometimes there is so much storage that it will overwhelm. It's like, when you work with someone who's not expressed anger for years and has had a history of abuse, let's say. When you start working with anger, initially a lot of anger may come up. But maybe that person just has to go through that. But storing the emotions and shutting them down is not an option. Because how is it helping the system? It's a coping strategy that's keeping the person deeply unhappy and unsettled at the end of the day. It's not like it's the person is happy and settled.
there's people who go through mindfulness and they don't end up more happy. They end up in psychosis, or they end up like having very dark years after starting this process.
It depends on
What do they do with those people? Like the people who go through 5 years and end up like way worse off from doing mindfulness.
You know what? They say that if you're not getting happy, then it's not something you should continue doing. That's for sure. The issue is that when you go inside, you can carry your own fixing mindset inside. And you can just keep excavating and excavating. And that's not helpful. And that's why the compassion practice is extremely important. Like, because there is gentleness and unconflictedness about conflict in the system, the entire practice has like a sheath of kindness around it. If you miss that kindness, then it's a practice of watching demons. If you miss the kindness. But if you don't miss the kindness, then yes, it's a practice of watching what's going on in you with a whole lot of support within. So compassion is developing internal support. Most emotions are not expressed because they don't have external support, yes, but then they don't have internal support either. The system is not internally supportive to have an emotion. There's no support in the system. So with compassion practice comes the support, comes the love that this rejection that I'm facing from the world, I don't want to perpetuate this rejection. At least I can hold myself lovingly. And if that's an approach, it won't make it dark. But if the approach is find out, remove, fix, then it will make it dark. So it can go that way very easily if there is not correct understanding about the process. And so a lot of work needs to be done to develop compassion. And that's why I'm always saying that compassion is even a bigger element than knowing your defenses, it's even a bigger element. Just being gentle towards yourself is the biggest element of the practice. But I completely hear you, because the dark night of the soul is a known phenomena in a lot of people. Yeah. In fact, just yesterday I was reading, I think I was watching a YouTube video, and a person was describing his experiences in the comment section, and he said that I started meditating in Vipassana, the 10-day retreat, the Goenka method. And I just loved it absolutely. It was blissful. So I went back and did 2 back-to-back 10-day retreats, in Australia. And then, like, for the first year, I loved it and all of that. And then, I cannot remember exactly the entire comment, but he said something like, after a while, I got so disenchanted with the whole thing. I started feeling that Buddha had betrayed me, because I was going inside and it was only like looking, I wanted to feel it in my bones, I wanted to feel it here, I wanted to feel it there, that wouldn't happen. And then, like, that struggle made me feel, what is this practice? And I was angry with Buddha, and I was angry with the teachers, and I was angry with everybody. And it's a process, for him also. And then he was saying how he came back to kind of recognizing that he set on a fixing finding fixing mission, which was not helpful. So that finding fixing mission is not helpful. It is knowing, not fixing, not searching, not finding. It is knowing and being gentle. That's it. Now that's tough. When you know and stuff comes up and then your fixing tendencies start to come up and then you're not fixing and instead being gentle, that's really a tough place, right? But that is what will lead to changing your relationship with yourself and your emotions. Because so far we are only fixing ourselves. Some of us are here even to fix ourselves. Right? We all start on that path. I mean, we are all starting there. I started there too. We all start there. We feel okay, maybe mindfulness is an answer to some of the pains I'm having, right? But we all start there. But the idea is to have a different relationship with the pains, and of course, things shift, but not by making them shift, but by being with them. The nature of what it is shifts. By being with anxiety, anxiety shifts, not by trying to shift anxiety. So it's a different method of approach. And I can't say that enough because the natural tendency is to fix.
Basically, in a sentence, just to watch.
Watch and be kind. Yeah. Yeah.
Be a friend to yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the main thing. Be that friend that you are searching for outside. Okay. Any other questions before we get into our practice? Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to practice with emotion. This practice and the next one is going to be a practice with emotion. But what we are going to do is I'm not going to advise you to bring an emotion up. Okay? Now there are two ways emotions will manifest, or two ways you will be able to get in touch with emotion. One way is you know what you're feeling and you can see it. You try to notice it. The other way is you will look in your body and you will feel unpleasantness here and there. You could even put a hand on that part which you feel is unpleasant and notice how you are feeling. How you are feeling in terms of emotion in that part. So, for you, when unpleasant experiences come up, just try to notice how you feel. Don't try to interpret if there is nothing. So the kind of noticing is like this. Okay, I'm supporting myself and I'm asking myself a question. How do I feel now? And I'm waiting for the answer to come. I'm not trying to figure the answer. If the answer does not come, so be it. So it's a very intuitive listening, deep listening rather than figuring. So there's hardly any work with the mind, right? So if there is too much unpleasantness, just ask yourself. Generally, also ask yourself, how am I feeling now? That's the meditation right now, and just noticing. That's the meditation right now. Yeah, some self inquiry. Come. Yeah, you can. You need any cushion, anything under you? No, you're okay. So, again, beginning the practice by getting into a posture that is both alert and relaxed. Bringing the awareness completely into the present. Noticing the breath and the rhythm of the breathing. And through the breath, noticing the body expanding and contracting. Noticing the breath in the chest, in the lungs, in the belly. And now, as you're more aware of your body, just asking yourself, how am I feeling now? And don't be in a hurry for the answer. Don't even try to figure it out. It could be calm or restless, peaceful or anxious, or sad, or weak, or strong. Doesn't matter what comes up. Just knowing that and taking some time to know what is the nature of feeling right now, what is the emotion right now. Tuning in, listening deeply to the body. Maybe you feel calm, but then there are places where you don't feel that calm. Or maybe there's some sadness, but it's not too much. Just noticing what is happening right now. Is there any part of your body that's getting tighter or that's bracing itself? Just actively relaxing that. Or the shoulders are getting tight or the neck stiff. Just opening that. Just opening the entire body to allow whatever is the emotion right now. And if there's nothing, just noticing what this openness feels like. And feel free to put your hand on your chest or stomach if you feel like. But notice it. Let the feeling be intuitive. And also noticing while you're feeling the feelings, you're also grounded, connected to the ground, stable, steady. There's a quality of kindness in your observing. There's a quality of gentleness in your support. There's a quality of compassion as you listen to the body. Some habitual defenses may kick in. You may want to move away from watching the emotion. It may feel overwhelming, and if it does, you can come back to your breath anytime. But use this as a beautiful opportunity to open up to yourself. Notice how does it feel to open up to yourself, to be kind, to support. Notice if the body is willing to take the support, not willing to take the support. Just noticing all of this and accepting it for what it is right now. Not making stories about it, not getting into overthinking, but just noticing. Now coming back to the breathing. Coming back to noticing the rhythm of the breath. And taking a few deep breaths, just orienting yourself again. And getting ready to end the meditation.